Oh, hi guys. Welcome to the latest episode of Cricket Draft Insight. I'd love to be able to sit here and rave to you about how well I'm doing in the county championship, but actually I don't want to talk about the county championship. Um, last year, every single move I made went right. This year, the complete opposite. On the plus side, I'm doing okay in the women's T20 Blast. The thing with that competition, of course, is there's only 9 teams. And then if you've only got like 5 or 6 playing in 1 week, I think it is a bit difficult to sort of catch up. Obviously, if you can get a captain, get a captaincy call that just goes, stupendously well. But I'm in about 250th, which is fine. So we'll see how the rest of that goes. On a more positive note, I'm doing very well in the men's T20 Blast, though I probably shouldn't say that out loud. I might be getting carried away. I was about 44th, or might be 72nd or something. I did, of course, captain Liam Livingstone in the last round, and I think I currently have Liam Livingstone, Will Jackson, David Willey in my team, which is very mainstream for me. That's fine. I slightly moved away in that competition from just my some of my regulars, because I'm always saying, oh, why don't I just have Jackson, Willey, maybe Curran, but he hasn't been bowling. And obviously it paid off. And even Liam Livingstone, I go back to the One Day Cup last year when I captained George Balderson, who was pretty much like the only double game week all-rounder. And he was in a few teams, but not that many. And he maybe wasn't captained by that many. And I do think in the T20 Blast, of course, I feel like you're slightly guided more by the fixture list. You want to pick, I think, make the most of double game weeks without obviously putting yourself in a hole for the next week. Obviously, like I say, I'm not doing very well in the county championships. Maybe I shouldn't be preaching, but in the T20 Blast, like why would you captain someone who's playing once instead of someone who's playing twice? Just captain a double game week all round. If they don't come off, they don't come off. In the same way that I finally didn't captain Ryan Higgins a couple of times in the county championship, and it bit me in the bum. But there was logic in captaining Archie Vaughan. It's just he didn't score any runs, he didn't bowl, and like the pitch was like green. I thought Somerset was supposed to be spinners pitch. Leach wasn't playing. Anyway, there's a few thoughts. I'm doing absolutely diabolical in the county championship. I'm doing all right in the women's T20 Blast, and as ever, the women's game, enhancing my knowledge and interest in it, and I'll come to sort of knowledge and interest of county cricket a little bit later when I talk about something else. And like I say, men's T20 Blast, well, I've done very well, but we'll see how that pans out. What else? I've scribbled a few notes. Oh, right, okay. So the other thing today, so the 100 wildcard draft picks, whatever, is happening. Now, assuming we are having a one-day cup game, and I'm not going to go into so much detail about players, I'll save that for future if that gets confirmed. But I'm thinking Charlie Allison for me should be a lot nearer the front of the queue of like next in line for England across formats. He didn't make the most of his England lines appearance. I think he got 2 cheap scores and he got run out in one, which won't have helped. He's fired in T20s. He's just such a consistent performer. From what I can gather, I think he's pretty confident. I just think, I know obviously it's the usual Brooker in the way, but I just think absolute top quality player. Safe Save, I would have thought would be in demand in the 100. Okay, he hasn't absolutely peaked, and he hasn't necessarily peaked in T20s as a batter. He's a left-arm spinner. I think he should be used more, and he did just get back in form with the 100 last week in the county championship after I, of course, finally decided to drop him. Who else have I written? Will Luxton. Okay, finally. Okay, so he's been building in the T20s. Finally came good in the county championship. What did he score? 137 and 69 or something, opening the batting. He has this very languid-looking approach. Some of the shots he plays, when he hits it for 6, like it looks so easy. But I was going to say, he just had this such flimsy innings, like in first-class cricket prior to that. But he's got his opportunity, and good to see him get backed. And that's just massive. I know he scored 100 before, he scored a few runs, but I feel like this is a massive breakthrough performance for him. Finley Bean scored a couple of 50s in the second 11. He's capable of coming back in. James Wharton, I was defending him early in the season, but he needs some runs. And then the other players I thought are likely to get signed to the 100. And this is relevant, like I say, because obviously we are having a one-day cup game from a cricket draft perspective, in terms of deciding who you're going to pick. But I still think we'll be spoiled for choice. So Joe Moores, so I think that 150 he scored before you consider anything else puts him in the equation. Given that something like Caleb Faulkner was signed off the back of under-19s, one or two others like Ollie Sykes, who I think must have been injured. I don't see why Joe Moores wouldn't get signed, and it's very batting orientated. But James Sales, so I thought James Sales last year was basically just going to become a batter, scoring lots of runs. He wasn't really bowling much in the county championship. Obviously in T20s, he's bowling. I've said it 1,000 times about Northamptonshire quality they've got, and then who do they pick down the order? I think James Sales benefits, as I've often said, in T20. He's not a fast bowler. He's not Benny Howell, but he's not a fast bowler. Batters have to generate the power, okay? Play on their ego, and you don't give him as much to work with. And he's taken wickets, so I would have thought he would be in demand. He got England Lions recognition, of course. Something that caught my attention, which I was well aware of, but in a way I hadn't quite taken in the magnitude of some of it, right, is Sussex, because I got my eye on one or two of the players. Troy Henry, right, come the One Day Cup, very interested in him. But, so they've told 8 players they're not having their contract renewed. Now I can speculate who those players are. Okay, Daniel Hughes, presumably is one. But they apparently have offered some new contract. What I don't understand, they're not allowed to sign players, right? Although they did, or there's special reasons they can, whatever. But if they release all those players, won't they then have to sign players? Is it different if they sign Lawrence or one or two youngsters they've got? Won't they then just have to sign players or loan players, and they're not allowed to loan players? Not really. So we'll see what happens. See what happens there. Right, then the other thing I was going to say, which I have mentioned a long time ago. So at the moment, cricket draft, we have county championship. Hopefully we've got One Day Cup. We've got women's blast, right? Now, I'd love us to have a competition in the winter. Okay, we didn't have Big Bash last time. South Africa T20 was mentioned. I do wonder if with the Big Bash, the designated batter sub, we've had issue, this county championship week, Jordan Cox got taken out, Michael Pepper came in, and I had Pepper, which meant I didn't get Benjamin's points. Sums up my season. But in fairness, I did have Pepper picked, whatever. But in the Big Bash, if they had, they called it designated batter, but I believe it's kind of like designated batter and designated fielder, right? Well, if you have the fielder come on, and they come on instead and get points, or they just field and rob you of the points of someone. So there maybe have to be something to prevent those points counting. But obviously, in the IPL, they have impact sub, don't they, and stuff. What I was going with as well was, why don't cricket draft do Test series, right? England versus New Zealand, or England versus Pakistan. Now, historically, even I said, what's the point in 2 teams? You pick so many players, a bit limited. But something that come more and more to my attention, right? Do not underestimate how many people only follow international cricket, right? There is an extreme volume of England fans. They don't know who James Coles is, let alone Ryan Higgins. If Jamie Porter walked past them in the street, they wouldn't know who he was. Wouldn't know who he plays for. I don't know what batter bowler. Okay, I'll hold my hands up. A few years ago now, that was me. I'd followed international cricket. Didn't really follow domestic that much. I followed Yorkshire. Started following Yorkshire a bit more, and then cricket draft and got immersed in county cricket. And as I probably said before, some of these people who just follow international cricket, and we have an element of the international in Ultimate Picks. Well, maybe they want to just play fantasy cricket to do with the Test series or the white ball games, and then they enjoy it, so they then play the county games, and they get more involved in the county games, and the more people playing, and that's what you want, isn't it? I was going to say something else, completely forgotten what I was going to say. Just that from an admin perspective, let's just say England-Pakistan Test series coming up, right? To set it up, it's not that big a deal. You don't have to make a video about every match. You could just sort of run it in the background. You know what I mean? Automated, however it works. But yeah, just a few random thoughts. Not doing very well in the county championship. Doing okay in the women's blast. doing well in the men's blast. 100 draft today, which affects Monday Cup. Sussex losing a load of players, and why not cricket draft games for Test series, ODI series. Probably lots of other things I could talk about, but we're 10 minutes now. Okay, thank you very much for watching. How's that?